Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Yeah, so in today's video, we're going to be reacting to a video of a European man, a white guy of course, who was talking to his people in Africans. And in this video, well, let's just say the guy is known for saying controversial things, although he means well, right? And in this video, he was talking to Africans, and it's not the message that he was giving, but how he was presenting Africa.
Right? Yeah, and for the longest time, we usually complain as Africans that the Western media distorts the true image of Africa. And we always insist that no white man can ever tell a black story and tell it correctly.
Right. On our comment section, we normally see a lot of black Americans say, we came to Africa and it's not the same image that was shown. Exactly. And you wonder why, and I feel like it's because, but these are just my personal opinion, guys, let us know in the comment section. I feel like this happens because white people do not want black Americans or any other black person who is not living in the continent to ever visit, yeah, by scaring them with a misrepresentation of the continent. Okay,
right. And if you ask me, right now Africa has its own problems, of course, I will admit that, but Africa is just a good continent as any other continent, because anything that is happening here in Africa is happening in America. Heck, Donald Trump was almost, you know, taken out. We don't know if it was planned or not. Would it be fair for Africans to start advising their fellow Africans in diaspora and tell them, giving them travel advisories, telling them that America is dangerous? Anyway, let's watch this video and then we come back and talk about it. But remember to subscribe if you've not subscribed, and also leave us a comment on what you think about this episode. Let's watch and then you come back and talk about it.
Pay keen attention on the images that are used in this video. So let's watch, we come back.
Have you ever been to one of these? Almost half of Europeans live in a place like this or something like it. Europe was built to fight the cold, because in the colder climate in the wintertime, we can't live outside, we'd freeze to death. And so we built these big apartment complexes that were very efficient. Efficient because they have in the basement usually a heating system called central heating. And from that central place, they heat the whole building and everybody stays warm. This is the only way to do it in Europe, because it's so cold and heating is so expensive, we have to cut the cost and huddle people together in these kinds of apartment blocks. So that's why I wonder, if you're an African from a place like this, why would you want to come to a place like this? I don't get it. Do you even understand that most Europeans living in these apartment complexes dream every night of making enough money so they can move to Africa and live there? Why at this point would any migrant even still want to come to a place like Paris or London or Rotterdam? These places are horrible. Even if the city center looks kind of nice, the outer rings of these cities where you actually have to live look like this or this. They are absolute shit places. In Europe, you have to be rich to have it well, but most people aren't rich. Like I said, Europe was built to withstand the cold. It was not made for living comfortably.
Looking at this from a Eurocentric perspective, I think it would be fair for anyone to agree with you on this, Johannes. It would be the most honorable thing to do to agree with you on this. I mean, why would someone living in this, as you claimed, really want to move to a place where people live in this? Honestly, I think it's really unfathomable, or should I say enigmatic, so to speak. However, if any of you watching this video have ever watched any of the Scooby-Doo cartoon series, you would understand that the lesson Scooby-Doo always tries to teach us is that the real monsters are always humans. It doesn't matter how long it takes them to unravel the mystery. They always find out that real monsters are humans. So what if we flipped the switch and asked the same question from an African perspective? If we took a sincere look at the root cause of why Africans move from here to here, we might be able to demystify this inscrutable idea of why people would really move from a place like this to a place like this. Maybe I have to joggle your memories a bit something could ring a bell. Now, approximately 600 years ago, some European marauders, I mean your forefathers, arrived on the shores of what is now known as West and Central Africa to forage for food. They left their heavenly places in Europe, you know, they left their advanced, civilized Disney World castles, you know, like they left this to places like this in Africa. You know, to be honest, some of us Africans are still trying to fathom the reason why your forefathers built ships and started sailing all the way to Africa that actually had nothing but poor, primitive, uncivilized, barbarous, and benighted people. We are still trying to figure it out why. None of you has been honest enough to tell us why those ships left the shores of Africa with items your leaders, your forefathers needed to keep all of you alive. None of you have been able to tell us. We are still trying to figure it out why these visitations never ended. Why did it end? They came once, they didn't end. We can't juxtapose the fact that your forefathers sat in Berlin between November 1884 and February 1885 at the Berlin Conference without the presence of a single African. Not a single African leader was present. Your forefathers sat there to split the continent of Africa like a pizza. And the fact that you all came to save us, just like this snake is saving this fish from drowning, we can't juxtapose how your forefathers actually came to save us from dying from hunger and then leaving our shores with food items for you. You continued to stay for hundreds of years until it was our human capital you started extracting. Now, we may not be able to understand why your forefathers, I mean those marooners who came here to rob, to plunder, couldn't stay in Europe and enjoy all these good things, right? All these riches and all this technology you guys had that nature blessed you with. But I can help you to understand why some Africans, I can help you to understand the reason why some Africans are leaving this to this. It is simply because your Ajibule forefathers and their great-grandchildren till now have turned Africa from this to this. Simply put, it can be explained as the circumstance dictates the actions. That is why. I can also help you to understand that if not for Africa, you, Johannes, and the likes of you would have been extinct by now. If not for Africa, you would have all been extinct by now.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about this episode. Personally, I think the West has gotten away with misrepresenting Africa, and I feel like it's kind of natural because even the white guy who was talking in this video, it's as if to say that
in Europe there are houses, in Africa there are mad houses.
Exactly. And this is the reason why people from abroad come into Africa and get the culture shock of their lives, because people come into Africa and they don't know in Africa there's skyscrapers, you know, they don't know how developed Africa is. They don't even think that there are roads in Africa. And I feel like from the second video, the guy spoke very, very well, and I feel like he tried to illustrate why some parts of Africa, not everywhere, why some parts of Africa was left dilapidated and was left looking the way it looks. It's because, and he also asked a valid question, why is it that if you have those developments in your country and you have what and what, why is it that they felt the need to come into Africa? It's because Africa has food, right? So why did they feel the need to come into Africa in the name of saving Africans? And another, you know, I was looking at another creator, but she's a comedian who uses comedy to teach people
and bring awareness.
Exactly. And she was asking white people, why, if you don't want black people to come into your continent because you complain that Africans come and flood your continent, why don't you tell them the truth? Because they've been driving a lot of propaganda.
Yeah, so she was just asking them, why don't you tell Africans, or rather show Africans the real truth about what whiteness is, if you don't want Africans to come flooding your country, you know. And okay, let's just talk about the message the white man was trying to pass across, which he did with wrong misinformation. But anyway, his message, he was asking Africans, why would you live? Because most African countries, especially where we come from, we are just where the equator is located, you know. So meaning we receive good sunshine, and there's also good seasons of rain, good weather, in short, where food can be allowed to grow, where like Africa has it all, you know. So he was asking, why would Africans leave all that to go to European countries where the weather is not favorable and it's very cold up there, where they are stacked up on top of each other because of how the buildings look, you know. Why would they leave that to go to that? It's because of how they've marketed themselves to Africa, you know. Africans know that their countries of origin, these white people, can do no wrong.
Right, and to them, they know that abroad is where the best life is. Abroad is where the best opportunities are. Abroad is where, like, Africa has nothing good to offer. And I can tell you, up until this date, but I thank God for the age of social media. And as I normally say, the inventions that we have right now, it's easy to get a camera, it's easy to get a smartphone. Africans began telling their own stories. You guys, if you're watching us, I don't know how many of you know about this famous African YouTuber called Wodemaya. He started showing, you know, a lot of African Americans. Exactly. You know, he started showing, you know, the best parts of Africa, which people never thought existed, you know, because of YouTubers like him. Black Americans came and invested into Africa because of him. Even white people realized that those ones who had the potential, they had the, you know, resources to invest, but they didn't know how good or safe Africa was until we started telling our own stories, you know. And these are things that they never wanted to come out, because according to their media, they only showed starving kids, kids with malnutrition. They only showed, you know, just bad things related to Africa. I don't even need to tell you, because I know what you know what I'm talking about. And the question I want to pose to our audience, for those who are watching us, right? When you're growing up, at what point exactly did you realize that Africa is more than what you were told? At what point did you grow up and realize that?
Right. So guys, please let us know about what you think about this episode. And for those who are new to this channel, kindly remember to subscribe, and we'll see you on our next episode.